How could an America who could morally, spiritually, and biblically justify the kidnapping, raping, and pillaging of another two people, natives already in America and Africans brought to America, and perhaps had God not sent us to America?
Black and beautiful means nothing unless you're black and powerful. Let's just get that straight. You cannot be black and proud and niggers too. Okay, that white folks are planning for 3 generations and we're planning for Saturday night, right? Because our brothers and sisters is to win, not to look like we're winning. I would rather carry a plastic bag with $5,000 in it than to carry a $5,000 Louis Vuitton bag with $100 in it. You ain't winning. Louis Vuitton winning, Nike is winning, Gucci is winning, Armani is winning. You ain't winning. We are the consumption class. They are the merchant class. They make stuff, we buy stuff.
Friends are critically important because it's God's way of apologizing for your relatives. You can pick your friends, but you cannot pick your relatives.
You will not fix that. There will have to be generations of white people that will simply have to die.
How could an America who could morally, spiritually, and biblically justify the kidnapping, raping, and pillaging of another two people, natives already in America and Africans brought to America, and perhaps had God not sent us to America, America might have self-destructed by now. That's how insane the social construct of racism is, and white superiority. That's how insane. This is an insane. Do you understand that this is an insane concept? The most egregious concept of slavery, because Africans were familiar with slavery, but you were indentured, you were enslaved to work on a pyramid, but then you went home. No. They took it to a whole new level. No, not only are you enslaved, but when you have children, they will be enslaved. And when they have children, they will be enslaved. And you will be enslaved, your whole family, for, about 250 years until it's illegal. That had never been created before. So the concept of racism and the most egregious form of slavery is simple insanity. How another human being can come up with something like that and sustain it for centuries is a clear sign of insanity. I want you to write this down. I want you to go on YouTube today or tomorrow, and I want you to search Toni Morrison and Charlie Rose. How many of you know who Charlie Rose is? One of the best interviewers on PBS. Toni Morrison and Charlie Rose interview. Charlie Rose asked Toni Morrison, what does she think about racism? Toni Morrison, one of the most brilliant minds on the planet, not just black, Nobel laureate, Pulitzer Prize winning Toni Morrison, looked at Charlie with the seriousness of a heart attack and said, that is the wrong question, Charlie. The question is, what do you think about racism? Charlie Rose is white. She said, because racism feels insane to me. And it is insane. So my advice to you, Charlie, is that white people get therapy. That's what she told Charlie Rose on public television. Y'all need to get therapy. I don't know why more of America isn't talking about this. And leave black people alone and not let your insanity drive us insane. Because that's what you're trying to do. And they have done a very good job. So, I have come to the conclusion as a 70-year-old black man living in America, we cannot fix white people. We haven't been able to fix them in 400 years. We cannot fix them. White people must fix white people. This is what Toni Morrison said. Y'all got to fix yourself. We can't fix you. We have failed. You got to fix you. But we can fix ourselves. That's the most important thing. We can undo over time some of the damage done to us by their insanity. And we are damaged goods. I don't have to explain that to you, right? Just look at our behavior. So we are damaged goods, and we need to work on us. We can fix us. In fact, white folks are not going to fix us. Do you understand that? They haven't in 400 years. Who are white folks going to fix? White folks. Asians are going to fix Asians. East Indians are working on East Indians. They ain't working on you, right? Arabs are working on Arabs. Our Jewish brothers and sisters are working on their issues and their people. That's who they should be working on. So they're not going to fix us. I have a good white friend who said to me, George, I know what black people's problem is. I said, oh, really, Bob? What is black people's problem? He said, you spend all of your time thinking about us, and we don't spend any of our time thinking about you. So, George, if you're not thinking about you, and we damn sure ain't thinking about you, who's thinking about you? I had to do the Holy Ghost dance. I had no comeback. I had no comeback. So that's right. So we have to spend our time working on us. And there is much work to do, right? So we'll put a pin in that thought. Look at a very, very short video that speaks powerfully to one of the reasons you must be at the Power Networking Conference in your own backyard. It is a concept that I have been working on for 30 years. And now I don't know if you know, but I'm the brother that came up with the term connect the dots. Right? I've been saying that for almost 30 years. It's now a very, very popular phrase, but if you read any of my books, the first one to say that, the first one to put that together. So I think Cassandra is going to start this piece, and let me frame it up for you. Just hold on one second, Cassandra. This was a piece I did 8 years ago at Eddie Long's church in Atlanta during the State of Black America with Tavis Smiley. How many of you remember those big all-day programs, the State of Black America? And I was called upon to be on the stage with the likes of Minister Farrakhan, Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, Cornel West, Michael Eric Dyson, the who's who of Black intelligentsia. And I talked about my concept of connecting the dots. And someone found this on YouTube because Tavis videotaped it, excerpted the soundtrack from the piece, and then put together a little drawing that illustrated this idea of connecting the dots.
Hello guys, and welcome back to today's episode, and thank you so much for tuning in. In case you're watching us for the first time, please don't forget to subscribe and also give your opinion in the comment section. And today's episode is actually super powerful insight from this black professor, and what he's actually saying align with what is currently happening with black folks, which I feel that is an achievement toward the black excellence as in general. Because the first point he's insisting is that white folks will actually not fix black folks because they had 400 years and they have actually done nothing. And also, it's not the work of black folks to fix the white folks, but he insists that black folks should strive in fixing themselves. And then another point that is saying that it's actually very relative to the first point is that black folks need to actually think about themselves. And with these two statements, I can actually relate with what have been happening for the best part of, let's say, last year and this year. Black folks have been thinking about themselves, have been fixing themselves in this way. When they realize that black folks always come out and protest for the rights of other, and then they are actually their name are actually turned to be violent and hateful, and they are being shot by police in the protest and used as used for scapegoating. They realize that, and black folks have not been involving themselves in the recent protest, especially on the matters that actually do not affect black community. Even on the recent protest about ICE, black folks have gone silent, and instead black folks are using the black dollar. That is the new protest that is actually fascinating. But without insisting on that, also the professor is insisting, sorry, to plan for the generation as a community, to plan for the future for the generation. I will not insist on that. Let me know what you think about all that. But there is also a very big point here. It's about consumption. We all know that black folks have the highest purchasing power, even when their wealth compared to white folks is debatable. But when it comes to purchasing power, black folks have the highest purchasing power, and white folks company cannot actually thrive without black folks purchasing power. But he's actually giving a very good insight that black folks should not celebrate that purchasing power, and instead they should strive not to be consumer and rather be producer. But he's actually generalizing all that with this statement that the rich the rich get richer by pretending to be poor, and the poor remain poor by pretending to be rich. Without much ado, let's dive in, and please don't forget to give your opinion in the comment section. And thank you so much for tuning in up to this time. Let's dive in and finish the video.
To be black and beautiful means nothing unless you're black and powerful. Let's just get that straight. You cannot be black and proud and niggas too. Okay, that white folks are planning for 3 generations and we're planning for Saturday night, right? Because our brothers and sisters is to win, not to look like we're winning. I would rather carry a plastic bag with $5,000 in it than to carry a $5,000 Louis Vuitton bag with $100 in it. You ain't winning. Louis Vuitton is winning, Nike is winning, Gucci is winning, Armani is winning. You ain't winning. We are the consumption class. They are the merchant class. They make stuff. We buy stuff. It is interesting to me that the rich stay rich by pretending to be poor, and the poor stay poor by pretending to be rich. Right? We got the shit ass backwards. Nothing changes, and all the statistics tell us this. The Institute of Policy Studies, April 2017, the economic state of Black America said, and I give you the final quote from that 300-page study, which no Negro read. Basically said that by 2053, 10 years after the majority becomes the minority, if nothing changes among African Americans, household median wealth will be zero. Zero. In effect, we will have worked our way into a second slavery. Try to operate in a market-based economy and a democratic capitalistic society without money. Let's see how that works for you.
Oh man,
It's on us. And ain't nobody fixing us but us. White people are not fixing black people. It's been 400 years and we ain't fixed.
It ain't their job.
People aren't even thinking about black people. And I'm not hating on white people. I'm just telling the truth. You know who white people are thinking about? They're thinking about white people. They're thinking about their wives, their children, their communities, their schools, their businesses, and your pockets. That's what they're thinking about.
What is a relationship? A relationship is someone that comes into your life and they do one of four things. They either add, subtract, divide, or multiply. What is a relationship? Someone that comes into your life, they do one of four things. They either add, subtract, divide, or multiply. Why would you want to be hanging out with people who are subtracting from your life, you're subtracting from their life, and through this subtraction comes division? Why would you want to hang out with a crew like that? Why would you not want to hang out with people where you're adding to their life, they're adding to your life, and through this addition comes multiplication? What am I really saying to you? I'm saying to you, brothers and sisters, please hear me on this. Don't spend major time with minor people. People doing nothing want you to do nothing with them. People going nowhere want you to go nowhere with them. If you want to change your life, change your relationships. If you're earning $50,000 a year, take inventory of your 5 closest friends. That's about what they're earning. And you're not going to earn a penny more until you start hanging out with people that are earning $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year. Because you see, there's a system for everything in the world. I tell young brothers and sisters this all the time. I say, when I speak in high schools, if you're getting C's and D's, all you know how to get is C's and D's, because there's a system for getting a C. It's a different system than getting an A. So if you want to get A's, you got to hang out with people who are getting A's and then copy their system. So if you're making $40,000 or $50,000 a year, but really desire to earn $100,000 a year, well, then you have to hang out with people who are earning $100,000 a year and copy their system. But if you took inventory of your 5 closest friends, and you could find out what they're earning about what you're earning. They have about as much education as you have. So you have to fix that. Friends are critically important because it's God's way of apologizing for your relatives. You can pick your friends, but you cannot pick your relatives.
And it's racist and white supremacy. There's no question about that. It's in the DNA. You will not live to see that change. You will not fix that. There will have to be generations of white people that will simply have to die. Really, that's what's going to happen. You're not going to fix it. You cannot train that out of white people. They will have to die. So we have our work to do, because there is more opportunity than we have the capacity to take advantage of. We just have to, as Dr. Watkins says, we just have to begin to think that way. The great Dr. Francis Cress Welsing left us with this, and I quote, "We wonder why we cannot, and we wonder why we're not making progress. We wonder why we're not making progress." This is Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. And then she went on to say, "I can't call myself a bitch, a hoe, a nigger, a gangster, and a thug every day and then get up and do something constructive. That's impossible."
Right.
The great rapper Kendrick Lamar said it a little bit differently. And I quote, "How can you fight for love on behalf of your people when you can barely find a reason to love yourself?" Kendrick Lamar. Drake said it a little bit differently. I happen to like Drake. I like the way he put this. I like the way he spit this out. And he said, started from the bottom, now I'm here. Started from the bottom, now I'm here. Absolutely, I can relate to that. Born in Brooklyn, New York, in Bed-Stuy. We must answer the question that so many of us ask each and every day, but we don't have an answer. Why is wealth important? Not so that we buy more stuff. We don't need any more stuff. That's our problem. We have too much stuff. We are a consumption class of people. Jews are a merchant class. So we must shift our thinking from consumption class, because that's all we do, to a merchant class. We'll put a pin in that. I'll pick up on that in a moment. Why is wealth important? We are the only culture in the history of humankind that put political empowerment before economic empowerment. Last year we elected over 9,000 black public officials, and we're still at the bottom of the educational and economic heap. What does that mean? You cannot do it by politics alone. How dare you put that kind of pressure on our political leadership? But again, we're no fools. We were born at night, but not last night. We didn't come down here with the last drop of rain. We know that we're all impacted by public policy, and yes, we're all impacted by the politics of inclusion. And yes, we must continue to use the power of our vote to empower those who empower us. They're not empowering us. If we are not a plank on their platform as it relates to economics and the upliftment of our people and communities, then don't vote for them. That's right. That's on you. Why is wealth important? Your wealth will determine where you live. Where you live will determine where your children go to school. Where your children go to school will determine the quality of your children's higher education, and the quality of your children's higher education will determine their lifelong earnings. And your children's lifelong earnings will determine where your children live. And where your children live will determine where your grandchildren go to school. And where your grandchildren go to school will determine the quality of your grandchildren's higher education, and that will determine their life. Do you see the cycle of poverty here? Why is wealth important? Dr. Boyce spoke so eloquently, so fabulously, so granularly of this. That in a market-based economy, in a democratic capitalistic society, in case no one has told you, the only color that really matters is green! So until our pile of green is as big and as high and as deep and as wide and as leveraged as any other cultural group's pile of green, we will never be considered an equal at the table of democratic capitalism.